Welcome back. I'm John Furrier, host of theCUBE, here at theCUBE's NYSE studios. Of course, we have our Palo Alto studio connecting Silicon Valley to Wall Street. It's our AI Factory series, also a preview for the Raise Summit, where compute and neoclouds will be in the front and center, sovereignty, all the top conversations. As the AI infrastructure continues to build out, we got the returning CUBE alumni here, Kush Bavaria, co-founder and CEO of Ornn. Good to see you again.
It's great for having us again.
And Wayne's first time on, Wayne Nelms, co-founder and CTO. Ornn, guys, congratulations. Get a lot of momentum. Been a short time since you were on, but you guys are in the hottest market right now. AI infrastructure, build out. I mean, it's still underfunded. I just wrote a blog post that, the third leg of the stool is capital. Power and capital right now are the two hottest things funding the area. Bounded by power, bounded by capital. Thanks for coming back on. Good to see you.
Thank you for having us, Sean. It's exciting to be here again.
All right, so give us the update. First, explain what you guys do, because I want to get back, because you guys are building a platform for compute like electricity, which is pretty much the conversation we have on theCUBE all the time. When can we get into it where inference and reasoning and all AI can be powered like electricity? Start.
Look, I think compute has become more and more of an asset class. And if you look at it, every other commodity market, such as oil, electricity, as you mentioned, has a way to sort of transact and exchange that resource. And so we're building the rails to be able to transact and exchange compute like you do with electricity. You can think of us as like the power lines in an electricity plant. And the data centers are the generators.
The technology, you guys are fairly new. Wayne, CTO, you're building the platform.
Yes.
Explain what your thesis is, what you guys are doing.
Yeah, so effectively, like Kush mentioned, all we think is really valuable in the space is having the efficient transfer of compute as a resource and having efficient transparency in the marketplace. Right now, today, there's no one has real insights into what does compute actually worth in the market based on where it's located, how much does it actually cost to transact between counterparties in the space. It's very unstandardized. And I think Ornn's mission is to make this process more standardized, so data center development is an easier, more seamless process.
It's such an evolutionary market. It feels like, discovering fire or the wheel, right? It's like the big data center build outs happening. Everyone talks about the CapEx, but you guys are coming at it from a different angle. You're thinking, okay, how do we do this at scale? When you think about AI factories, they're centralized, and you got the edge coming online. We were riffing about metro factories, distributed computing, all over the place. So that means everything's connected. They're going to need power. They're going to need compute. What's the plan? Where are you guys at? Take us through the progress of the venture.
Yeah, so team size has tripled since last time we spoke. So we've been growing at an incredible rate. I think the other good part about it is the market is starting to realize that, hey, compute is more of a asset class and how it's transacted and moved. You look at investment grade tenants and all these sort of things people are talking about. As you mentioned, like capital is the next bottleneck that's going to take place in data center economy. Look, we have power now, we have the chips. What's the next sort of thing? What's blocking it? Really, if you look down to it, is capital. It's these hyperscaler tenant commitments that are happening.
Yeah, and the commitments are like multi-year, not 10 years. I mean, look at the data center builders. They're like real estate. Now that's moved into more transactional systems.
Of course, and it's more of that. There's not a lot of people in the world that can afford a hyperscaler commitment, right? No startup today can afford a $10 billion, $20 billion commitment on a data center. And so it's finding creative ways to sort of create a marketplace where people can transact and buy compute.
Talk about the startup, because the hottest area outside of infrastructure is the AI native startups. You're seeing people, small teams come into the market, and they're going to need tokens. They're going to need compute. They're going to need all that stuff. They don't have massive funding. How does that work? Take us through the use cases of how you envision the customers.
Yeah, so right now, all these companies, you mentioned all these new hot startups, foundational labs, think OpenAI, Anthropic. What they're doing is they're raising a lot of debt capital. They're raising a lot of fundraising to just build these data centers. But their core competency is not building infrastructure. Their core competency is training models that serve the world. And I think what we see today is there's not a bifurcation of what a company really does, what they specialize in. Because the market is so unstructured, everyone wants to do everything. Yeah. So I think Ornn is sitting in this interesting position where we see all the labs and what they're trying to do, but we also see all the data center infrastructure players and what they're trying to do. And we just want to be in the middle and facilitate an easy transfer of compute.
All right, take us through where you guys are at on the progress. What's the status of the platform? Where you're at.
So we work with beta users today that transact through our platform, and then we go through that. And then we're doing a public launch coming soon on the actual platform and the way to transact compute. Our indices are also listed on many retail exchanges, as well as us doing our own sort of transactions on the indices. We list on Bloomberg, for example, as one like large platform.
What about the models? At Google Next last week was very clear is that you started to see the decoupling of the models from the actual infrastructure. How do you guys view that?
I mean, so what we see is there's a bunch of players, again, on the infrastructure side. There's a bunch of players on the model side. And being able to switch between models is something that every end user wants to be able to do. You use OpenAI GPT, you might use Anthropic, Opus. There's so many different models in the world that serve a specialized use case. And so having the compute be almost fungible across different infrastructure to serve different types of models is really where we see the future headed.
The agent wave is coming. We saw enterprises adopt this year and last year, at the end of last year, coding kind of broke through. I mean, everyone's been using coding assistants, but now the enterprise see real value. Any thoughts on how you see this agent market playing out and how you guys are going to vector into it?
Of course, I think inference is going to take a lot of workloads on compute. And if you look how inference demand is shaped, right, it's very volatile. I don't know when I'm going to click the button. I don't know when I'm going to generate code. And so it's creating the same way. It's like you consume electricity in a very volatile way. And I think inference demand is also very volatile, where you compare it to training, where you know exactly when you're going to train the model. For inference, the demand for compute is unknown. And that market that we help create sort of ties into where the market's heading.
All right, talk about the founding story. How did you guys come up with this? You guys just hanging around doing trades, MIT. How did it all come together?
Let me go first. So I met Kush freshman year. We were best friends at MIT. I was a math major. I ended up going to trading as a career, actually here in New York. And so Kush was calling me every weekend after work saying we should do something, and this is my own version, but I think he really convinced me to jump ship and really explore the AI infrastructure landscape.
Tell your side.
When you start a company, you want to start with only a few people, and like me and Wayne have known each other for a very long time, and we're friends, and so that's part of the story, right? Most companies succeed because the founders work together, and so it's been incredible. So
all right, so what was the hook, Wayne? What made you hang it up and jump into the arena?
It's always about trust. I trusted Kush with everything, and I really believe that we could do something great together.
What was the sales pitch, Kush? You said, hey, look, we're going to do this. Market's massive. And I mean, first of all, the TAM is massive.
I think that's part of the story, but also if you look at where the world's heading, there's a lot of these old enterprises. If you stay at a current job, and I think many companies will adopt AI, but you don't know which ones will at the certain rate that they are. And I think there's going to be a lot of disruption that happens in the world. It's a sort of revolution that's going on, and we want to be at the forefront of that revolution.
And when you get the investors in, you guys have seed investors, you got a round coming together. What was their reaction to the story and the vision?
I think our investors are very favorable of like what we're doing, and they've been happy so far about the progress that we've made. And I think they're most excited about the opportunity that they're taking on. Like, I think they understand, like, look, the work we do is not easy.
Yeah.
And being able to go after that large goal and not be scared of that is, I think, part of the mission that we work with. Like,
you think about like companies like AWS, which was founded inside Amazon. They had their first use case. I remember when Amazon actually web search came out, it was like very basic, the basic building blocks, and then it just dominated the market.
Right.
Similar pattern happening here in the compute market, where you don't have to boil the ocean over. The market is in need. The demand for compute is so high. How do you guys view that? And what's the vision? Once you get the building blocks and the core platform out there, how do you guys think about that evolution?
Look, I think the end goal is becoming a very similar to an electricity sort of exchange that exists. And that's the end state of the market. And today we're starting a very simple platform where you can buy and sell and exchange compute hours and all these sort of different things. We have our indices, of course, that we've listed on many exchanges. That's the start. And then obviously we take that and bring it into the future.
How do you guys view all this dormant energy that's laying around? Because if you look at, like, it comes up a lot. It's not really talked about in the mainstream, but there's a lot of energy that's been disaggregated, in the infrastructure footprint. I mean, just in telecom alone, if you look at AT&T and Verizon, they got all these central offices, they got all these towers, they got all these other small little data centers all over the world. You kind of have a grid.
Almost, yeah. So right now, power is definitely a constraint for AI. I think people are getting very creative today with how to source energy from anywhere that they can. So as behind the meter energy generation is so important today. I think we'll see, especially as AI infrastructure becomes more robust, how creative people can get really with energy production.
So how do you guys view the whole market making side of it? Because again, if you're a startup, you're going to want to tap into this platform. What do you guys need to do from an ecosystem standpoint to put all this together?
Look, for us, it's working with a lot of people in the market. Like, we want to be as neutral as possible, and we work with everyone, every data center provider, and all of these sort of AI app builders, companies, model trainers, everyone that exists on one side of the market. And for us, our goal is to we work with as many people as possible, right? We build that whole ecosystem around us, and we become the central party where everything comes together.
Yeah, I mean, like the market here, they're trading behind us here on the floor, like electricity and futures. There is a lot of quant involved.
Yeah.
Take us through that. How do you guys see that? Not a lot of people see that vision of the math behind
Yeah.
the market.
I mean, so, our backgrounds are all finance, math, and CS in our company. I think these skills are super valuable when you think about building infrastructure for a marketplace, market design, auction theory, making it as seamless as possible, frictionless as possible.
Yeah.
It requires a lot of math, like it or not. And I guess that we're super happy that we have a great group of guys that work for us, and we're super excited to keep going.
Yeah, and you're seeing a lot of secondary markets for a lot of the GPUs too. Like, I mean, there's going to be a lot of fluctuation. People want the lowest price possible for compute.
Sure.
Okay, final question. What are you guys optimizing for now? You said you're tripling in size. What are you guys looking for talent-wise? Go-to-market's going to be coming. You got a public launch coming. What are you looking for? Put a plug in.
I think engineering and go-to-market are two functions of the business, and we're looking for people that are talented and have done work before. Like, look, we hire anyone that is talented. That's our only requirement, and people that can actually build things.
What's the culture?
I think our culture is very startup-y, but at the same time, I think we have this like notion of like we have this sort of heritage in class in the way we treat our employees in the company, and so building that culture is huge.
Guys, excited for what you guys are doing. Congratulations. We'll keep in touch. You're in New York, so we'll have you back on. Thanks for coming on theCUBE. Appreciate
That's good. Thank you so much, John.
All right. AI infrastructure's compute is dominating the market. And again, this is an acceleration of agents coming. We're starting to see code development. The enterprise this year will probably crack with the agents. We're going to see massive growth. And again, the infrastructure continue to thunder away. I'm John Furrier, theCUBE. Thanks for watching.